In the novel Brighton Rock, there's no scratch on the phonograph record to spare Rose from Pinky's hateful words. Graham Greene ends the book with Rose heading to her room to play the record. She walked rapidly in the thin June sunlight toward the worst horror of all. It was co-screenwriter Terence Rattigan who came up with the sticking needle, and even though Greene rewrote much of Rattigan's draft, he stuck with this change, believing a harsher ending would have been too much for audiences to bear. Greene was less enthused by the British censors demanding Pinky's overt Catholicism be removed from the film. In the book, he routinely cites scripture and mutters phrases from the Latin Mass. Greene said he conceived of the character as a version of Satan, a fallen angel for whom there is no prospect of heaven, only a living hell. Brighton Rock was one of the first examples of a trend in post-war British cinema towards movies featuring spivs and wide boys, British slang for flashy hoodlums who thrived in the black markets that plagued post-war England. This criminal culture was immediately reflected in British cinema, where the 1950s brought a wave of crime films similar to the gangster pictures Warner Brothers specialized in during the Depression and the juvenile delinquent films of the 1950s. When Brighton Rock was remade in 2010, the story was updated to the 1960s, and the battling factions became the mods and rockers of that era. Now, despite that significant change, director Rowan Joffe still stuck with the ending you just saw. A brilliant bit of writing, in my opinion. One person who never saw the original film was actress Carol Marsh. As I mentioned at the top, the 19-year-old was chosen from among 3,000 English ingenues for the role of Rose. But making the film was not a pleasant experience for her. She disliked the whole vibe of the story and resented the way she was treated by the cast and crew. As a result, Marsh admitted later in life that she'd never watched the movie she's most known for. She'd only seen bits and pieces of it on the telly over the years. Fans of British sci-fi surely recognized William Hartnell, who played Dallow. He'd already had a long career in films when in 1963, he accepted the role of Doctor Who on a new TV series. He appeared in 134 episodes over the next 3 years, the first incarnation of the character in a series that's still running to this day. And many of you also recognize the actor who played Spicer as Wiley Watson, memorable for his turn as Mr. Memory in the 1935 Alfred Hitchcock classic, The 39 Steps. The Bolting brothers continued their distinguished run of movie making for several more decades. Their 1959 political comedy, I'm All Right, Jack, became something of a cultural touchstone in England. In 1966, the Boltings made The Family Way with father and daughter John and Haley Mills, and the 20-year-old actress ended up marrying Roy Bolting, 33 years her senior. As for Richard Attenborough, he outgrew his brief spiv phase to become one of the most revered talents in British show business. While maintaining a busy acting career, Attenborough became an adept director of weighty cinema spectacles, including Young Winston, A Bridge Too Far, and the Best Picture winner, Gandhi. Younger viewers probably know him best as the returning character John Hammond from the Jurassic Park movies. Next week, we'll be visited by another tortured, angry young man living a life of crime. In a rare role as the bad guy, William Holden holds a family hostage in The Dark Past. Head shrinker Lee J. Cobb hopes some on-the-fly psychoanalysis will disarm the young man. Come back next week to see how that turns out. Until then, I'll see you in the shadows.